It's Motorsport Radio, and it's a Wednesday night, and we are live right now. Hello, good evening. My name is Lester. We've got our expert panel of co-presenters here, all fully paying attention, hiding. Jay King is back with us, and Tristan Finocchiaro. Hello, good evening, guys. We've got a packed show for you coming up in the next couple of hours. Live interviews right here on this Wednesday evening with Mr. David Allingham coming up live on the show. So if you've got any questions for David Allingham, add them to the comments box below, wherever you tune into this. Also, we've got Edmund Best, or Ed Best, or Eddie Best. We will be finding out how he prefers his name. Also, Gino Rea, or Gino Rea. Also finding out how he pronounces his name later in the show. Finding out what he's getting up to in 2021, amongst other things. I know Jay's got some interesting questions for him. But if you've got any better questions, then you can, as I say, add your comments in the comments box below. It's the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. Thank you very much for tuning in. And we are all online at Motorsport Radio on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as well. And as we say, Tristan Finocchiaro and Jay King both here this evening. Good evening, chaps.
Good evening.
Evening, Lester.
I noticed you growing that moustache in a little bit, Jay.
Yeah, it's getting there, isn't it?
Is that are we doing Movember? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's correct. But probably when you can notice it properly, it'd be time to shave it off on the first. Thank God, because I can't stand it.
Positive.
I like it.
Do you? I can't live with it.
Don't you get
grow it out once you've got it?
Don't you be getting any ideas about having like a blue moustache? Maybe you should have a blue moustache, Jay.
No, I have been told that I should dye it blue, but that's not going to
Ned Flanders style. Maybe not.
Ned Flanders.
Anyway, shall we do some news? I don't know if you've got any news. Have we got any news, Tristan?
We've got a little bit of news, haven't we? I mean, today it was announced. McCann's Yamaha announced today that they're keeping Taron McKenzie and Jason O'Halloran for us for another year. Which, I mean, we all thought there was going to be a few different names in that squad, and so it came as a bit of a surprise that wasn't really a surprise. So it'll be interesting to see now where Rory Skinner goes, because he was a rider that was who was linked to that team.
He should come on the show. That's where he should.
Yeah, he should. He should indeed. Yeah. And we've seen the new Kawasaki front fairing out in force today over at Jerez for the World Superbike test, which a lot of people have a lot of very different opinions on. I'm not going to give any opinion on it myself, but Ray did top the test on that Kawasaki front fairing. Well, what do you think of it?
Well, I asked you the question.
Well, I'm not a massive fan.
Tristan hates the new Kawasaki. You heard it here first.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
I actually think it looks quite good. I think it looks a bit alien looking to me. I like it.
Are you someone who thinks Suzuki's look good as well? We'll leave that.
Very good.
All right.
Interesting.
We'll leave it there.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
No, and it clearly works. Whether it looks good or not, it clearly works, because Ray managed to top the test with that front fairing. Although, I mean, the package underneath him was very similar to what he was already riding anyway. No Ducatis there, though. It is to note. Lowe's was second also on the Kawasaki, but without that new front fairing. Gerloff third. Locatelli, the newcomer, in sixth. Says he's got a lot of work to do, but I mean, I think that's to be expected, considering he's only just jumped on the bike.
Okay. Interesting. Let us know your thoughts on the brand new Kawasaki. If I know there's been already some talk and debate online about it, how let's just say it's courted opinion. I actually have no.
Safely say that.
Yeah. How much do you hate the new bike? Would be a fairer question. No, we do actually have a big debate coming up later regarding Joan Mir. A lot of people suggesting online, not me, I'm not suggesting this, that perhaps his championship win has been somewhat devalued by the absence of Marquez. What do you think? Is that the right attitude to have? He provided us with some good entertainment. A lot of people did as well. And should we be perhaps just a bit grateful that we even got some racing in the first place? And really, ultimately, was it Marc Marquez's own? I suppose
mistakes.
Yeah, I mean,
overriding the bike.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Mir's fault that Marquez injured himself, is it?
For sure.
So, I don't know. What do you think? Let us know. Get in touch this evening. If you are tuned in live on this Wednesday evening, you can send us a message in the comments box below, wherever you're listening or watching or whatever. We are, I believe, right now on the BSB Fans on Facebook group. Hello, good evening, guys. And also streaming live on Motorsport Radio, on Twitch as well, on Twitter, on the YouTubes, and something called VK, which I did find out. We did actually have a viewer on that, and it wasn't just me. So, hello, the one Russian viewer that we've got. Hello. How do you say hello in Russian? I don't know.
Yes, exactly. What's hello in Russian?
Anyway, don't be racist. Moving on. Other bits of news. Yeah, you were mentioning just briefly that Rea was quickest on the new Kawasaki.
Yeah, he managed to top the timesheets on that one, which is, I mean, he manages to do it all the time, really, doesn't he? He's a bit of an unstoppable force. But I mean, it is, you've got to bear in mind that there was no. I mean, Gerloff was also looking really strong at one point on the Yamaha. Toprak was having an okay sort of test, but at the same time, you know, it's very early in the standings or in the. In their programs, in their testing programs and everything. So there's not a great deal you can take from it. I mean, if you look at what they're all testing many items and components. So, I mean, looking at times this early on won't really give you much of an indication. But yeah, Rea topped it. Lowe's, I think, was second as well. No Ducatis there. Gerloff managed third, and Locatelli was doing really well as well.
Interesting. Okay. We will get back to some other news, including our big debate later on the show. But as we mentioned a little earlier, we have some guests on the show. We've got Gino Rea coming up later on in the show. So if you've got any questions for him, drop us a message on there. Also, Ed Best or Eddie Best or Edmund Best or Mr. Best to you. But for now, Tristan, who have we got first on the show?
No, we've got Superstock 1000 rider David Allingham, who's kindly agreed to come on the show with us. How are we doing, David?
Not too bad, guys. Thanks for having me on.
No worries at all. Thanks for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure. Well, firstly, what are you up to these days?
Trying to find something to do now that the race season's not going anymore. Maybe get stuck into a bit of work again. Maybe regather my thoughts and work on new techniques and what to do now coming back into the race season, because I wasn't really happy with the way my year went. It wasn't how I planned it. So we're going to maybe go back now and relook at my training and relook at maybe how my mental approach is coming into the races for 2021.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it seemed from the sidelines like an eventful season, but I mean, it was for a lot of people. Just talk us through the season.
We started off before the start of the season. Obviously, I signed for the in-competition Aprilia, which was a great bike in my eyes. I thought it was a great team, and we started off the first round test. So I went back to test, and everything went good. I had lots of confidence. I was training quite hard, eating healthy. I'd done a lot of hard work, as you do for motorcycle racing. We went to round one, and we had a bit of a technical failure, which just from then on just kind of spiraled out of control. To be honest, I don't really want to get into it too much. Sure. So by round three, we kind of didn't know what to do, and we weren't with the in-competition Aprilia team anymore. So I rung Boldbase at the start to try and see if they had any free space, but obviously with Tim Neve and Leon Geacock being there was no ride, so that kind of led on to Michael Dunlop, and we kind of put a bit of a team together, and we went racing. So, but I think by that stage, I think the confidence was already gone, so it was heading back to just rebuilding again. You know, when everything that you work for on another machinery has now disappeared. You have to start fresh on another bike, which halfway through the year when everyone's starting to get up to speed, you know.
Yeah, of course. And what was it like moving from the Aprilia to the Suzuki halfway through the season?
Yeah, it was a good jump. When I jumped back onto the bike, it was exactly what it was the power I definitely wanted for sure. I liked the way Michael set the bike up, and to be honest, at that stage of the season, it was nothing to do with machinery or setup or anything. It was going through. I just had lost all my confidence. Basically, that confidence that I had worked on all testing and all off season to build up. And when we got there with the Aprilia, things weren't working. It just confidence starts going, and everybody knows in motorsports you can't go forward without the confidence, and you start doubting yourself and not maybe believing in yourself as much anymore. So to be honest, I should have just scrapped the season and maybe went away and started working and got just started working on back to basics and start working on things I needed to work on throughout the season. But racers, me being me and being a racer, I wanted to get straight back out in case I was losing anything. So we decided to do the thing with Michael, and which was a great opportunity. That was hard work for Michael to just kind of drop everything and start taking us guys on. So I really appreciate everything you done for him.
Yeah, for sure. And moving across from the Aprilia to Suzuki, did you get much testing time before your first race on it? Or?
No, we just turned up at Open Park for round. I think it was round 4, was it? Yeah, round 4. We turned up to Open for round 4 and went out. I think the first session on it, I was 7th. So that was my first time ever riding the bike. So it started off really good. I actually wish I started off like 20th or something, because I don't know if we bettered that all weekend. But the Suzuki was good. It was no testing and just to jump on the bike and start learning it. I thought we'd done an okay job.
And moving back to sort of the beginning of the season, what was it like, or rather the season as a whole? What was it like moving across from BSB or from the Superbike class to the Stock 1000 class?
All right. It was good. I wanted to move. I wanted to stay in Superbike because for Superbike, I always think you need a 2-year deal. Yeah. And I didn't really think I got a fair shot in Superbike. I felt like it was a learning season, and we'll use the first year as a learning season, and the following year we'll maybe, as I say, you need confidence. So I wanted to go back in on the second season and maybe start bettering myself and proving that I should be there. So we were kind of robbed of that, and I had to go back to Stock 1000. So Stock 1000 is mega hard class. I really, I didn't really expect it to be as hard as what it was. There were some great riders on it. It was not the mindset was the same. I maybe went from, in the Superbike, sometimes you have to kind of change your mindset. You think, get top 15s and start building on it from there. If you can get the top 15s, you work your way up. In the Stock 1000, I kind of came on expecting to be in the top 5, or at least the top 10. So I think it was, I maybe put a little bit too much pressure on myself. I maybe should have took a year on it and settled down and go for it next year.
Hi, Dally. Sorry. Mr. Allingham, shall I say? David Allingham. We know the differences between the Superbike, one not having traction control, and obviously the stock bike having all the electrics and that. But as a rider, what is the difference? Do you have a different style? Is there one you prefer more than the other? Did it take a lot of adjusting?
Yeah, the first thing it took for me to adjust to was the SC2 tire. Back to the treaded tires, there was no grip on them. So I was coming from Superbike with the SC0, which was very grippy. To come away from that and jump on to the stock bike with the SC2s, I just straight away thought there's no grip on these bikes. So you actually have to start relying a little bit more on your traction control, which is something coming from Superbike and coming from Superbike I'd actually never done. So just trying to rely on your traction control and trying to trust it. It's like a mental thing again. You have to just kind of hope to open that throttle and hope the bike's going to correct it.
I do racing, but nowhere near on the level you guys, and the bikes I need, I totally don't need traction control. But as a road rider, do you notice the traction control compared to the Superbikes? Is it really noticeable between the two bikes?
Yeah, for sure. The Superbike's very stiff, and the only way you can kind of ease the bike out is by taking a little bit of a throttle, by messing about with your throttle map to soften the map a little bit more. Where with the stock bike, you still got that, you're still softening your map and stuff, but the traction control, it's hard work. Like to get on it and start trying to learn it, it's pretty difficult, to be honest.
Cheers, David.
No problem.
So moving back to sort of the transition, what was it? What you expected when you jumped into the stock thou class?
No, for sure not. No. Coming from the Superbike class, where in my mind, I thought this is the hardest class, which for sure it is. It is. But those guys in that stock class are riding so hard at the front, and they're pulling all shapes. They're riding loose. They're aggressive, and that was something that just really didn't expect. Not that I can't do it, but when I jumped into it, I thought I was going to be a lot better than what I was. I think at the start of the year I did prove it, but as the year went on I didn't. But yeah, that was the first thing. I just couldn't believe how aggressive they were. They took no prisoners in that class. They the first 2 or 3 laps, I'm sure if Fraser Rogers is watching, he'll be laughing because they're just mad in the first few laps. Everyone's got the elbows out, pushing each other out of the way. They do it on the same in Superbike, but I feel like Superbike had a little bit more respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
They seem to have a little bit more respect for each other. You put hard moves on, but that stock class, there was no prisoners, man. They just moved out of the way.
No, absolutely. And you can tell by watching from the sidelines, it genuinely looks like a dogfight non-stop. But do you have any plans going forward then for 2020? Anything starting to click into place?
I'm speaking to a few teams at the moment, trying to work things out. And to be honest, I'm just trying to regroup now, get my head back together again, look at my training, and I just need to basically go back to my basics and enjoy riding a motorcycle again. That's the kind of what I've been doing. So basically, I've been looking at a few teams and trying to work out what teams is my best option. With motorcycle racing, that's you need a good team behind you. You need guys with you on your bad days. You need guys with you on your good days. A lot of teams in that BSB paddock, I'm sure a lot of motorsports are behind you when you're doing well, and that's easy. It's easy to be behind somebody when he's doing well. When he struggles, when you really need your team behind you, you get stuck in. So I'm trying to work out now what my best option is. How to move forward, and if I can get a team that I think is going to be behind me for sure, we'll make some plans for 2021 and get stuck back in and prove what we can do.
No, for sure. Is there any sort of plans to return to the Superbike class at any point in your career?
That's what I would like to do. I would like to move back into Superbike. That's
of course.
But you need to be one. I think before I move on, I'd like to be one in the class, and then I can go into that class with some confidence and start learning. But if you're going to Superbike again, you need a 2 or 3 year deal because it is just a completely different machinery. The bikes are a lot stiffer. They race different. And the tires, again, to get used to those tires and getting used to opening the throttle, knowing that you have the grip is going to be, it takes a lot of testing and maybe a good year under your belt before you start realising how much grip you have.
No, for sure, it makes sense. I mean, going back to 2019, where you were running in the Superbike class and running your own team, what was it like running, obviously, new team and new class?
It was exciting. It was 100% exciting at the start of the year. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. It's just that the money it takes. We were trying to do it ourselves, so the money it takes to do it on a budget, that there's just no point being there. Because things have to be cut. Maybe not necessarily get all your tires that you should be allocated to use. Maybe not being able to put your swing arms, chassis, put a swing arm in the bike, or got somebody just text me here. He's really trying on.
No reason.
So you have to buy swing arms and wheels and all sorts, electronics, Motex, and by the time you put the Superbike together, it costs a lot of money. So we actually never got a full-blown Superbike put together. You know, to be honest, mine was just like a modified stock bike. So I would 100% like to go back in there on a full-blown Superbike, because I think that would be a whole different experience, you know. So yeah, it was. I thought I really did enjoy it, but I would like to do it properly.
And for those who don't know, because obviously, I mean, you're still running the team in the Supersport class as well as EHA in the Superbike class. What's the sort of difference in funding, in manpower, in everything you've got to organise and get ready between Supersport and Superbike?
The manpower is very similar, but what happens is that you need to have crew chiefs around you. You need to have guys who know exactly how to. With the Superbike, there's a lot more throttle. You're kind of mapping out your throttle and making the throttle a lot softer, because the bike is winning all the time. Where the 600 was kind of different. The 600, you kind of got it. You got a throttle that you like, and then basically you wanted to get the bike as fast as you can get it. So you kind of left the bike. Then once you got it fast, you just had to do a little bit of engine braking and stuff like that. But with the new Superbike, with the Superbike being a lot heavier, I felt like there was just a lot more work on it. Like with the engine braking, you were adjusting it all the time. With the bike wheeling, you were taking power away. Then you were kind of maybe getting a little bit faster, and you were going on. I got that corner sorted. Now I need the power back. So there was a lot of messing about all weekend long with your bike to get it sorted. Where the Super Sport, I felt like once we got our settings on it, we got our suspension right and our balance of the machine right, I felt like I just kind of left it and just rode the bike, you know.
True.
Where the Superbike was just all the time, you're just messing with settings to try and find it a little bit more, and they just keep getting faster, which is really difficult.
That's really interesting. We've seen this year it's been difficult for funding rise for many teams, for many riders. I mean, a lot of riders, some announcing retirement, some sitting a season out. How difficult was it for you in these times with everything that's currently going on in the world?
Yeah, for sure, it was really hard because obviously with the whole COVID and businesses being closed down and guys having to cut back, I couldn't get the sponsorship together. So it was very hard like that, trying to pull some money in to get going racing. The other thing was with that COVID was that the season kept getting delayed and moved on forward. The thing was, I was training since maybe November last year, December, really hard. So I had kind of peaked coming up to March, beginning of April, and the season just keeps dragging on and so that was mentally tough because I don't know how much longer I can do these days of training, you know.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
season to be started, so that was quite hard because every time you felt like the season was going to begin, you had to regroup and start training again, and making new plans of when you're going to be ready. And I kind of felt like I was ready in March or April, and that was difficult to stay ready for so long.
No, for sure. It's been a really tough year for everyone in that respect, and it's been it's definitely something that next year is hopefully going to be a lot easier in a lot of respects. But well, thank you very much for coming on, David. It's been brilliant to talk to you. It's been brilliant to hear what you've had to say and all the differences between Stock 1000 and BSB and everything. It's been really insightful for us. So thanks a lot for coming on and joining us.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Thank you. Best of luck for next year.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website,
Gino Rea coming
Motorsport
on
Radio.
And many others, as well as Edmund Best coming on the show, and a lot of a big debate coming our way as well.
It is the Superbike Show. Hello, good evening, and welcome. My name's Lester, and well, thank you very much, David Allingham, to letting us into to his mind, I suppose. Interesting year that he had. I knew of some of the things that were going on there in the background anyway, but it's always good to hear directly from the person themselves, especially. So that was a very good chat. Well done, guys.
I think he's one of the few people that have done 3 different classes in 3 different years. He's gone super sport, Superbike, then back to stock 1000. So I don't think there's many people in the Superbike or BSB series that have done that.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I have to admit, I wasn't keeping up to date with all of his latest movements, and I know he went and did something else. Other than, it's quite common, you don't always end the season where you started in the same team or even championship, but yeah, hey-ho, it is one of those things, and he had one of those years, I suppose, and hopefully for you, David, next year is going to be better. Thank you very much for coming on the Superbike show. Right, so Jay King, still here?
Yes.
And Jay, you're in a different room. I notice you've got a couple of trophies behind you. Interesting.
Yeah.
Just so happened to have been pointing the camera at those trophies.
No, it's just like I said, the missus upstairs playing the PlayStation, so I got pushed down here for today.
Fair enough.
And we just had a sort out in the living room, so this is where I'm at now.
Oops! Look at all my trophies here. There you go. I've just got a lot of broadcasting nonsense.
Do you not take yours to university, Tristan?
No, all mine stayed. Well, my 2 that have stayed at home.
They're in a carrier bag under his stairs, probably.
Yeah, it's not a very big collection.
And the junior Supersport ones are rubbish, aren't they?
Anyway, moving on.
Go into that, but yeah, they weren't the best.
No,
the cheap prosecco as well. They give you on the podium.
Hi guys, if you tuned in.
We can talk to Ed Best about this, but the tri-option ones are terrible as well.
Hi Tri-Options Cup, if you tuned in. Hello guys, big fan.
I'm just saying, you pay all that money to go racing, you expect a decent trophy.
2020 was difficult, wasn't it, for everyone? Yeah. Certainly for Marquez, anyway, because, even though he, obviously didn't win the championship in MotoGP, some people still think that he probably should have and would have won if it wasn't for that darn other, rider, Mir, winning things in MotoGP. So one of our big debates that we're having all throughout the show this evening is, is the championship worth as much without Marquez? A similar question that people used to ask not so long ago about Marquez winning and Rossi not. But again, we'll get to your responses, and you've got to give an opinion on this. I'm going to force you to give an opinion. Since you've just been slagging championships and their trophies off, you can give an opinion on this.
I've got something to say, don't worry.
Good. Put it under your hat for now.
Okay.
Good. Anyway, so MotoGP and Tristan, latest. Yeah. What's going on?
Latest. Well, Mir, unless you've been living under a rock, you'll know that Joan Mir is the new MotoGP world champion, and that's the first win for Suzuki in a very long time. So very interesting. We're going to get into that debate a little bit later on as well. But focusing on the race itself, then Morbidelli won the race again on a back-to-back, like he did at Aragon, on that 2019 Yamaha. Now, is he the best rider? There's something I want to hear your opinion on, Jay. Is he the best rider on a Yamaha, or is it because he's on the 2019 Yamaha, which all the other Yamaha riders are saying is better than the 2020?
Well, if you looked at the rest of the Yamaha riders, you would think that he's probably on the better bike, isn't he, really, even though it's the older one.
Sure.
It's not like even any of the other Yamaha's riders are close to him. I mean, there's none. Obviously, we know Rossi's getting on a bit, but he's nowhere near. Obviously, Quartararo has gone from right up here all the way to down here now. And he's from we would all thought at the start of the season when we saw Marquez rolling about injured that this was Quartararo's now, weren't we?
Yeah, I have to say I thought that.
I think everyone would have thought that, and he just hasn't gone right. So I think Morbidelli is a really good rider, but that 19 bike seems the right thing to do. And I think we know the Japanese they're not the sort of people who like to go back a step. They always want to try and keep pushing forward. So I think they're sticking with their 2020 bike, but clearly the 19 bike seems to be the better bike at the moment.
I mean, I agree with you, but you got to think there's got to be a point in which they realise, or you realise as a team, that perhaps the 2019 machine is doing better than the 2020, and maybe we've gone the wrong way here. All the riders are saying that we've gone the wrong way. Maybe we should take a step back to take a step forward.
Well, then they're going to get a lot less testing this winter as well. True. So they've either got to really stick out this 20 bike, or maybe, like I said, go back to basics and go back to the 19 bike, because Morbidelli really is proving at the moment that is the better bike. Yeah. And I think he might have had a chance to win the first Valencia, but I think he went for the wrong tyre choice, didn't he?
Yeah, so, I mean, taking nothing away from Morbidelli as well, he rode a brilliant race, and especially on that last lap as well.
Yeah, when I saw Jack come on the last lap, I thought, this is Jack's now, because I think it's been since 2016 since Jack last won a race. So I think Jack was like, I'm going for this. But I think it was 3 corners for the end. He kind of went for the move, then didn't go for the move. And that that just ended it for him, really. It was that slight mistake. And it's very hard to pass around Valencia. So that slight mistake just kind of cost it for him in the final corners. But he outfought him and kind of outsmarted him, Morbidelli, on that last lap.
He did, and I mean, you'd have to say going into the final lap as well, Jack had the upper hand, because he was playing it really clever, sticking behind Morbidelli. Yeah, I mean, there was a big gap, to be fair. Yeah,
Jack kind of got it to about 0.3 of a second. There was about 4 or 5 laps where he just kept it at that, and then it seemed to be like on the last 2 corners of the penultimate lap, he just reeled him in and went for that move onto the first corner, and they were back and forward a few times until he just made that slight mistake on the last lap.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then Morbidelli then going on to win on that 2019 Yamaha, which both Viñales and Quartararo have both come out at separate times and said that they want to use the 2019 Yamaha in 2021. Obviously, it's frozen the sort of the amount of developing they can do into next year. So they'd have to either run 2020 or 2019. There is going to be no 2021 bike. I'm not sure it's going to be.
I can't see the Japanese wanting to go backwards.
I can't see it as a viable option for them to go back to the 2019.
It's kind of admitting defeat, so they're kind of like hire people who design and make the bikes, really.
Yeah.
So moving on slightly, but staying in MotoGP, and news breaking almost after we'd gone off air last Wednesday. I think just on the Thursday morning it was announced, really early on. I think we just missed it. I can't remember. Anyway, and completely destroying Jay King's predictions about what Cal Crutchlow would be doing next year, because you got it all wrong.
Well, we've got to say Mr. Howarth was correct there, wasn't he, really? He said he would be Yamaha's test rider, and he got it right. So fair play to Michael.
Yeah.
If he's watching. Hello.
Of course he is. Hello. Fair play. And so if you... Tristan, obviously you can fill us in with some more information on Cal Crutchlow, but if you don't know, it has been announced that he'll no longer be a MotoGP racer.
Yeah, no, he'll be moving to Yamaha as a test rider, which I thought was a really interesting. I mean, clearly he favours that over going to Aprilia on a and actually racing. I mean, it's strange because obviously he's been riding the Honda for a good few years now, and even before that the Ducati. So then going, I mean, he has ridden the Yamaha in the past, but quite a few quite a way back now. So him being on that Honda for so long, which is a very different bike, very completely different riding style, to now come and test the Yamaha rather, and to be trying to develop this bike that's completely different to the bike he was on before, is that a good call?
It's tough to say, really. Obviously, they must think of a lot of Cal, because obviously they've kind of got rid of Lorenzo to give it to Cal.
Did you see what Lorenzo tweeted about that?
No, well? I didn't see it.
He said it was that Yamaha had gone from gold to bronze.
Wow.
Moving from Lorenzo to Crutchlow.
Yeah, that's a bit of a swipe there, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, obviously, like how he got some good results. It would have been back on the Tech 3 Yamaha, the Monster Energy Yamaha back then. He did get some good results.
He did, yeah.
I think a lot of people say this, and it kind of shoe with Garrett Gerloff when he got on it on last Friday, that any rider can seem to get on the Yamaha initially and go really quick when they initially get on it. So I think the Yamaha will suit Cal quite well. So yeah, I think he'll make a really good test rider. Hopefully we'll get to see him in a few wildcards, but I think it'd be hard to get results because just to step back into a race environment now and again, I can imagine is quite difficult.
Yeah, and he's got plenty of experience as well. So that's exactly what you want from a test rider.
Yeah, he's never shy of saying what he thinks of the Honda and how hard that is to ride. So hopefully he'll be able to give some good feedback for the Yamaha, and maybe that 2020 bike might become a bit better because of Cal.
Yeah, for sure. And another Brit moving to, or possibly moving.
Yes,
into
MotoGP. I think we're about to talk about the same thing. Oh, Chaz Davis?
Yeah, Chaz Davis is
very
linked. Nothing's confirmed. And I mean, this seems like everyone's trying to have a go at taking this Aprilia MotoGP seat. But he's been linked, and it's looking possible that Chaz Davis may be on that Aprilia MotoGP seat for 2021.
Yeah, I think it'd be a really good move. Something a bit left field. I don't think any of us would have expected it. We would have expected a Moto3 rider maybe to Moto2 rider maybe to move up. So yeah, Chaz Davis did ride in MotoGP a long time ago. I think he did a few. He stood in for an injured rider for Pramac. I think it was at Laguna Seca. It just shows how long ago it was. I think he got a really good result on it. So it'd be interesting to see Chaz back on a MotoGP bike. Yeah, I hope he gets it. Something a bit different. So yeah, it'd be good to see if he gets it. I said we all know the Aprilia is not the most competitive bike, especially the second Aprilia. So, yeah, it'd be good to see him get it, but hopefully it won't ruin his career in any way, like it has a lot of people's.
Yeah, no, absolutely so. But I mean, if you look at where he's come from, and you know where the position he was in. I mean, not so long ago we thought he might not have any ride at all because
I think he's gonna snap it up if he can, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he absolutely would do. I mean, I think any rider would snap up the opportunity to go to MotoGP, especially if they were faced with the prospect of not even racing at all. I mean, I think when he was asked just before the World Superbike season ended what he was doing for the next season, he was very dejected and was like, you should ask someone else or something like that. He said,
he had no idea, really, didn't he? Lost puppy.
Oh.
But
yeah, go on. Sorry, Tristan.
No, sorry. Moving down to Moto2 then. What's your sort of opinion on Lowe's chances of the championship?
Before we say anything about,
you keep getting it wrong every single week. Because every Sunday afternoon you're like, that's me ruined. Then I'm destroyed.
Over that for now. Let's just. A big up to Sam Lowe's because I don't know if you saw his hand on Twitter. It looked like the Elephant Man's hand. And he made a good joke about Gavin Emmett.
Yeah, I saw that
on BT Sport that I thought was quite funny. But he seemed still in high spirits. At the end of the day, it's not a massive gap between him and Bastianini, and we're going to that last round at Portimao. Anything can happen. So he's still within a good chance, and he did really well to just say getting those 2 points. Honestly, I didn't even think he was going to make the end of the race. So fair play to him.
Yeah, no, he did extremely well. I mean, that crash he had in FP3 was massive, and like you say, his wrist, and you saw how swollen it was, and for him to still pick up 2 points, those could be two crucial points going into the championship. And then, of course, we moved to Portimao, which is a track that he possibly knows better than anyone.
Yeah, he's probably
because he's raced there in Supersport before.
Yeah. So
a long time ago.
Yeah, very long time ago, but it's a little bit of an advantage. Also, I mentioned with the cold weather and coming from England, so that might become a bit of an advantage as well. The crash, I thought, was very. I think it would probably have been about 5 years ago. I think he actually went on and won that weekend. That was his first Moto2 win. The crash was very like his crash he had in Texas many years ago. Kind of the bike hit him twice in that crash as well, like it did in that one. So he's made a tough stuff, is Sam.
I don't want to say that we've seen the return of the old Sam Lowes with him crashing again, and I mean, he's seemed a very different rider all this year. He's just sort of, maybe cracked under pressure a little bit, or maybe just had a couple of crashes. It's normal, but I think because it's Sam, we've sort of jumped on it and say, oh, is it the old Sam Lowes who's back again? But, I think, what he showed in that race by picking up those 2 points is showing a lot more maturity than we're used to from him.
I don't think, none of us, because I don't think even he would have expected to be even in this position now, let alone winning the championship. Because if you remember, he missed the first round at Qatar because he was injured. So I don't think even he was expecting to be in this position. So I think how we saw him at the end of the race, how he was still quite jokey in that. I think he can still be, even if he does land up coming second or third this season, I think he can be proud of what he's done. And like what we said last week, even if he wins the championship, he's going to be in it, and again, he's going to be in it again next season, because obviously there's no move back to MotoGP. He's never going to go to across the world Superbikes or Super Sports, so he can take it that he's going to go on next season, and if he doesn't win it this season, he's got another great chance next season.
Yeah, no, absolutely so. And another rider that's got a great chance next season is Jake Dixon, who equally, like Sam Lowes, has had quite a bit of injury. But Dixon's had some successful surgery recently on his broken wrist.
Friday the 13th. What a day to go in for surgery. Eh?
Perfect day to go in for surgery. But it seems like it's gone well for him, because he had several broken bones and cartilage damage in his hand. Had a 2-hour operation, but it seems like in a week he'll be able to start some light cardio again, and then mid-December he's going to have the wires removed from his hand, from his wrist rather, and then he'll be able to start physiotherapy as well. So, I mean, it's a good time to be recovering, isn't it? I mean, it's not even the off season yet.
No, like I said last week, I think in a way no one wants to get injured or hurt, but
no.
I think it would have been quite a lot. I think he would have liked, there would have been a lot of pressure on him, shall I say, to get a podium in these last few rounds with how well it had been going. So maybe that was a bit of weight off his shoulders, and then next year he can go in and hopefully maybe push for a championship. I don't know, but I think it'd be definitely looking to get podiums and wins.
Sure.
And maybe knock on the door and getting a GP ride. He's in the right team for that to happen. So, hopefully we need to see a British GP rider again. So now Cal's left us. Even though we haven't got that much to cheer, we haven't got anyone really to cheer on next season. At least we've got a big hope in the Moto2 class, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. And our best wishes, of course, to Jake Dixon. Hope that he does get that injury repaired nice and quick, so he can get back to training, so we can see him at the sharp end next year.
Just moving back briefly to the BSB paddock, which we will do just for a couple of comments before we get on to actually talking to Edmund Best, or Eddie Best, or Ed Best. We'll find out. Couple of bits of breaking news. Well, one bit of information, which may or may not be a rumour, which may or may not be true. Probably not. And one actual bit of news that's broken since we've been on air in the last half hour, 40 minutes or so. Huge congratulations to Harry Cook, who has announced since we've been on air that he has signed for Yamaha, and he's now part of the Blue Crew. He thanks everyone. This is just reading off his Facebook. Thank you to Yamaha and Steve at Raceways Motorcycles for providing a great package for 2021. Young Harry says, due to lockdown, he can't get there available for pictures and stuff, but he is very happy at
is that the team
Yamaha.
Brodie Crockford was in this season, I believe, isn't it? Tristan might know.
Yes, tell us, Tristan.
That was run by Crescent Racing. I think there was a bit of Blue Crew involvement in there. And he was pretty much on a World Supersport 300 spec Yamaha.
Yeah, I could tell how quick that bike was.
Well, Harry was in British Talent Cup this year, doing fantastic stuff. Maybe not the results he would have wanted, but it's good to see him joining the ranks of being, I suppose, a young rider. I don't actually know how old he is, but I'll just call him a generic young rider. And a message has flooded in from an anonymous source who suggests that there may or may not be a Japanese rider at Honda in BSB. Who could that be, if that is indeed the case?
I'm not really a big fan of the Japanese motorcycle championship, so it's probably going to be, I would have thought, an up-and-coming Japanese rider, kind of like we've had quite a few in BSB.
I'm sure if Michael Howarth was here, he'd probably know, like,
yeah, he would probably try and pronounce his name, wouldn't he? But obviously, Honda have done it before. They brought Kyo over, and we know how much of a success he was. So hopefully, or maybe they're trying another Japanese youngster to come over.
Who knows? And we may or may not see, also just keeping with the BSB theme as well. I know it's been an ongoing debate or point of comedy talking points over the past couple of weeks about OMG Racing's lineup, who have confirmed one of their two riders being Kyle Ryde, and the other may or may not be Brad Ray, who may or may not be announced in the
Is this another
weeks.
one of your theories that we're going to find out is going to be completely wrong?
If it's not him, it's definitely going to be Jorge Lorenzo.
Someone else. Okay,
Lorenzo now, so not Dovizioso anymore.
No, he would only be warming the seat for Lorenzo, really. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he clearly can't cut, Lorenzo, he clearly can't cut it anymore in MotoGP level. So, but anyway, that was the little BSB interjection.
Just before we talk about Lorenzo, I'm wearing my Lorenzo shirt tonight. Look, Lester.
I can't see it. Hold on. No, that's
just says Lorenz.
Yeah,
Lorenzo shirt available from all good Lorenzo stockists. It was in like the whoops bin at a BSB meeting, I think. Oh,
it was in the bin.
Well, like those bins, like 3 shirts for a tenner sort of thing.
Oh, okay, all right.
So what are the ones
you found it in the bin?
Oh well, maybe he put it there. But
I bought it off Cal Crutch though.
Talking of stuff you've been doing as well, Jay, you've been on a bike testing something today?
Yeah, just I'll put a shout out there for Acle Car Centre where I work, but we also we sell more bikes than we do cars. Whenever we get a new big bike in, the owner lets me go out for a couple of hours on it, and I do some fancy Instagram pictures to
it's just an excuse for you to go steal a bike for an afternoon, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I had the luxury of riding a Panigale last week, which was very nice.
Yes, anyone who keeps in touch with Jay on any of his social media accounts will be able to see where he is at any one time. So
and I have a Ducati Monster for next week, so I'm getting round.
There you go. I'm sure we'll be able to see the will that be on your YouTube channel or the company's?
I probably won't put them on my YouTube. No, they just go on the Instagram and the Facebook. I have got a new YouTube video going up on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Talking kind of about a new class in the Fab Championship. Kind of a new class. It's an extra class for the pit bikes.
Were you just sort of, I don't know, it's slightly annoying me. Anyone who can see what Jay's doing, he's sort of like halfway in a box and sort of halfway. Yeah, it's OCD people. Annoying. Sort of new championship. Talking about go on.
Yeah, it's just like it's not a new it's just kind of new class. Basically, I want to start up a rookies class in the pit bike class, because I feel it's really for anyone who's coming in, because if you do pit bikes, you're doing it for fun. You're coming in as an amateur, and I think it's kind of unfair that the lads have to come in and race against the likes of Brad and Charlie and things like that.
Oh yeah, it must be terrible for people.
But obviously, it's really hard for a newcomer to compete against them guys. So I'm going to set up kind of a little rookie 140 class within the 140 championship.
Like a transition pit bike type class.
A learning year.
A learning year. Okay, fair enough. Will you be in that championship? Obviously not, because you're the double champion.
I won't be wearing an orange bib.
Are they wearing orange bibs? I don't know.
But I am setting up a bike ready for Moto Team next season as well.
Moto Team, we'd like to see you on a.
I want to take on the goat that is Simon Clowes.
I was chatting to him today, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, briefly. Hello, Simon, if you He's not watching. He's got better things
Claim
to
to
do.
fame.
Watching, yes, why not? Loads of champions, and amongst other things, Jay King will be. No, I don't know why I'm reading out all the various things that you do, as if like you have fans touring the country to go and watch you. I mean, we do, but you know.
I don't think there is any fans. I get some nice messages on my YouTube channel, but they're not really people who come watch. No one can come watch me anymore, can they?
Yes,
because of COVID.
Through the great live streaming that Motorsport Media provides.
Yes. I mean, like, they don't, come and watch me at the track, do they?
I did. I came to watch every race.
Yeah, you did.
Didn't miss one.
Yeah, you didn't really have a choice, though, did you?
I was also there. I wasn't watching that. I wasn't paying attention to what you did.
Yeah, we can tell.
But, Jay, amongst other things, will be practicing, getting ready in preparation for 2021 by doing some winter series in BMB and showing those guys how it's done.
I'm going to do that on the 6th of December at Ella Park. I think it's basically because the track's down the road from my house, but I don't know if the Fab Spain trip's going to go ahead, so I might do a few more winter series rounds as well. So we'll just have to see how this COVID thing goes, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we could, I don't know, between us and, I don't know, sort out something, a Spanish replacement series type thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping you guys would come to Spain with us.
I don't think it's in the budget. I mean, I'd go, but anyway, I don't know. It's in the budget.
I want to get on the Benidorm Square with you two.
Commentate on your testing. Can we live stream their testing?
You could, yeah.
If I'm going to Spain, I'm getting very drunk.
Oh, yes. You cannot go to Benidorm and not get very drunk.
Anyway, we were talking about MotoGP for some reason. And we've got a couple of minutes, by the way, before our next guest arrives, if he's not already here. I've not checked. Is he already here? I can't remember. No, he's not quite here.
He's not.
I've got to look over there to see if someone's just walked in. But before we get on to our next guest, who may be here shortly, our big debate this evening on the show, and we want your thoughts on it. Use the hashtag Motorsport Radio. We are diligently scouring any messages that come in on social media on the Motorsport Radio Facebook page at Motorsport Radio for messages regarding Mir's MotoGP Championship. Is it just as worthy without Marc Marquez? Tristan, your thoughts?
Yes, I think so. I mean, yes and no. Because...
well, yes or no?
I mean, if Marc was there, let's say Marc wins the championship, he still would have been second. And this is a rider that no one predicted would win the championship. Because if he's not first, if the only person who was going to beat him would have been Marc, surely. So then Marc would have been first. And
you're presuming a lot of things are going to...
I'm presuming many things, but you're presuming Marc would have won the championship.
I didn't make any predictions or presumptions.
People are presuming that Marc would win the championship. If Marc... There's not clear cut that Marc's going to win the championship. Yes, he's the best rider out there, but he seemed to be struggling a lot with that Honda. He threw it at the fence a hell of a lot more than he normally did, and that's what in turn caused his injury. I mean, he Jay says, he overrode the bike, and it's not the first time he's done it as well. He takes a lot of risks, and it didn't pay off. I mean, and then after the injury, he got back on the bike and made his injury even worse. And don't get me wrong, he's an incredible rider, but I think he was just made a few decisions at the beginning of the year that really cost him massively, and that's why he didn't win the championship, because of his decisions. And a champion is made up of many things, and the decisions is one of them, and he made the wrong decisions this year, and Mir clearly made the right ones. Jay, your thoughts?
I think we've got to remember here as well, obviously Marquez is an amazing rider, but it was his hand on the throttle, and at the end of the day, he was the one who made that mistake. He was the one who crashed. And let's face it, at the time, obviously Alex Marquez had a few good results towards the end of the season or mid-season, but at the end of the day, he had to ride that bike the way he was and ride it completely on the edge like he does. So we have to remember, this is not just a rider championship. The bike's got to be up to it as well. And if Marquez is having to ride it on the limit like he was, then obviously, I'm not saying you have to have the best bike in the championship, but do you know what I mean? they have to set up the bike to him. If he's having to ride it like that, to have to keep crashing and picking up and saving it like the way he does, then obviously the bike is not the best, and we know that because obviously he's the only one who can ride it the way he does.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you don't just win MotoGP titles because someone got injured. He got injured.
Well, according to the internet, obviously, if it wasn't for that injuries, Marquez obviously would have won, and if it wasn't for Marquez winning, then obviously Rossi would be on his 20-odd 30th title by now. Obviously, according to the internet.
It's a lot of ifs and buts, and at the end of the day, Marquez made that mistake. It wasn't like he got completely wiped out by someone else and it was totally out of his control. He made that mistake. And at the end of the day, Joan Mir rode a really consistent season. I think if you remember back to the late, great Nicky Hayden, he kind of had the same sort of season. He won the odd race, but all the other races, he was always on the podium and staying consistent. And that was another season where Rossi was at his best, and he had a lot of DNFs, breakdowns and crashes, and Hayden took advantage to that. So I say to Mir, well done. At the end of the day, none of us, even if Marquez was in the championship, we would have never expected him to come second, would we?
Well, Mir actually got the record, didn't he? Well, he broke the record for winning the championship with the least amount of race wins.
Yeah.
It was 2 with Hayden. It was 1 with Mir.
Yeah. So consistency is key, and
sure.
He finished on the podium every weekend, and I think he said at Aragon his bike was never quite right, but he still managed to get those podiums. So that's what matters, really.
Well, we will continue this debate later in the Superbike show here on Motorsport Radio. Welcome if you just joined us. My name is Lester, Tristan Vernocchiaro here, and Jay King, Pit Bike 140, super champion of Fab Racing. Hello, Jay.
Hello.
Is also here, but not paying attention sometimes. Yes, anyway, and talking about the best as well, just a cheesy link to our next guest, Tristan. Who have we got? And please introduce him.
Yeah, Sim Series Ducati Tri-Options rider Ed Best is joining us on the show. Ed, how are we?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad at all. What's keeping you busy these days?
Well, not a lot at the moment. Do a bit of cycling. I've got a bit of physio at the moment. I've damaged my leg and foot from this season, so
of course
that's keeping me busy a little bit.
Yeah,
trying to get prepared for next season, but apart from that, not a lot.
I mean, how's the injury? I understand you've picked up a bit of an injury back at Alton.
Yeah, so I broke 4 metatarsals in my foot. I crashed coming out of Shell Oils and ended up in the barrier with my bike on top of me, and I've done some ligament damage in my knee, which is causing me the biggest issue at the moment. So the metatarsals they're fixed, they're all healed, but there's a bit of pain in them. But apart from that, there's nothing else. It's more the ligaments. When I'm trying to train, it's just I can't put all my weight through them. I can't get enough power through them when I'm cycling and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, no, I've got absolutely. But I mean, apart from the injuries that you have picked up, how would you say the season's gone for you?
Yeah, we started the season really well. We were sort of expecting to be top 7. That was our sort of aim.
Yeah.
And then sort of we came in first season. I think we were top 4 every session up to Alton, and came away with a couple of podiums. And yeah, I was really happy with that, actually. It was more than we were expecting. We were expecting to sort of look at, if it was the full season, sort of look at podiums at the end, but we sort of exceeded all our expectations. And we're looking forward to next season now, really.
Yeah, it was brilliant to watch as well from the sidelines. What was it like moving up to the Tri-Options class?
Oh, it was the difference between the bikes is mental. So I went from the Moto 3s, which weigh about 80 kilograms and sort of have about 50 horsepower, to going on to these massive 200 kilo Ducatis with all this grunt, and they don't turn, they don't want to move. But once you get used to them, once you get them, you understand the way they want to turn and the way they want to deliver their power. They're really good fun to ride, actually, and they're a great class. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, to be honest. Yeah.
Obviously, you moved up, with your teammate, with Elliot. You both moved up to the class together. What was it like having a fast teammate like Elliot Pinson?
Yeah, it was really good actually. I've never really had a teammate that's been sort of. I think we were all testing. We'd come out the pits and we'd come in the pits together. It would be we were together all pre-season, and to be honest, I think that's the reason we were so competitive straight away. It's really like, because obviously we're racers at heart, so we want to beat each other as soon as you come out. Even in testing, you're thinking, I want to beat him, and I think it just pushed us both on so much coming into the start of the season, and then moving forward. It's been really good fun actually, and he was in our team last year and last couple of years, so we've got a really good relationship, and it worked really well as a team.
Was there much, sharing data, sharing notes or anything going on, or were you just sort of hiding things from each other?
Yeah, we do share data. To be fair, there's not too much we're allowed on the Ducati, so it's not light and day. But it's called like the Ducati data analysis. It's we look at it, and you can't overlap them, unfortunately. So it's hard to sort of tell where you are on the track, but it's good to see the different riding techniques. So we ride quite differently. So, but yeah, it has been really good, and I think we've pushed each other on a lot all season.
I mean, you both seemed to gel with the bike pretty quickly. I mean, that was the first thing I noticed. Why do you think that was?
I've got no idea, to be honest. They're so different compared to both we rode. So he was on the Junior Supersport and I was on the Moto3, and they're that different sort of technology, weight, power, everything's massively different. I think we jumped on it sort of blank sheet. I think when you go from sort of Junior Supersport to Stock 6, say, it's the weight's not that different and the power delivery's quite similar. It's not light and day, whereas these Ducatis, they've got top end, not a lot, but torque is massive. I mean, they just want a power slide all the time. Whereas I think I rode a Stock 6, I think a couple of times last season, and the power delivery is quite sort of, you want to scream them, whereas on these Ducatis only rev to 11. So it's massively different. I think we just sort of started from square one, and to be honest, the team's been great. It was square one for them as well, but yeah, they get on the ball straight away, and they know what sort of settings to put in it, and it worked really well actually, and seemed to get on really well with the bikes, and it just kind of clicked really. It was really good.
And with now, I mean, a year on this bike, and you've had a good bit of time to learn it, and now with the announcement that the Ducati V2 is going to be eventually brought into the Supersport class, is that something you're looking to maybe venture into in the future?
Oh, definitely. I think that's the route I want to look at. It obviously, it all comes down to coins at the end of the day. It's going from Ducati Tri-Options to Supersport is a big jump, sort of skill level, and financially, it's not. Suddenly you're looking at a lot more tyres, a lot more engine development, that sort of thing. So if we can get the budget together and we can do it, that is the route I want to go down. I think it'd be really good for Supersport to have different bikes in it. I think the Ducati could be really competitive, to be honest.
What made you choose the Ducati Tri-Options then over sort of other progression routes like Stock 6, for example?
I didn't really. Stock 6. We looked at Stock 6. We looked at GP2 and that sort of thing. And then Massenburg Monday got involved with the Ducati. They had a team in every class but the Ducatis. And they were Elliot's sponsor the year before, and they wanted to put him in a different class. And they saw sort of I was there as well, and they decided to run a 2-bike team, and that was kind of the reason we moved. It was there's other factors as well, but we just saw with sort of their back in, and it just seemed like a different thing to do, and it seems to have worked. To be honest, I think it's a much overlooked class for being a feeder into the higher series. You look at sort of Lewis Rollo and people, they've come straight through it and moved on, and Ducati, but a lot of support behind it. They've got sort of Steve Plater and Tim, who's the top man there. They put a lot of support through you, and they work with you, and they want to help you out, which is kind of different to Stock 6, where it's a bit more sort of left to your own devices.
Yeah, well, it seemed to work out really well for you. Obviously, you've gelled really well with the bike. You've gelled really well in the class. What's your plans for the future then?
I'm not sure, to be honest. We're doing sort of the near future. I think we're doing the same again next year. Okay. And then I think we'd like to look at Supersport. I think that'd be a good option. But it kind of, it's like after the end of next season, it might all be different. So it's hard to tell, but I think that's sort of the plan. I think with the Ducatis coming in, I think we'd like to be sort of the test team for it, and why not? I think sort of if you're going to go Ducatis into Supersport, you'd want the two young riders in the class to move on.
No, of course. Do you think, you've got a chance of winning the championship next season?
I'd like to say so. I think we were in the top 4 and we were so close all season. It was Josh and Levi just have that. He's this experienced racecraft and banging out the same lap times on the bigger bikes with sort of low tyre, and it was the experience they got. But hopefully, sort of next season we can spend the whole off season and the pre-season on working on our consistency race pace. Whereas last season we had to sort of get up to pace sort of thing. So I think a year on it, a year more experience, and yeah, I think if we can get our consistency to, it's more they have the one lap pace we can keep with them. It's that banging it out the next lap and the next lap and the next lap, and these bigger bikes they want, as soon as they start spinning, to keep the same lap time is a lot harder because everything changes. They wanting to rip you off the bike the whole time. It's not really sort of on the Moto3s. They kind of just want to stay in line the whole time. It doesn't spin up at all. Whereas these things, you're using the power to turn. So if we can work on getting the consistent lap times, I think we can challenge. We want to challenge for race wins first, but after that, yeah, why not?
Yeah. And with the sort of spinning up, like you say, is there much sort of tyre conservation in this kind of class?
With the amount of laps we get, there isn't. It's more sort of, with the Pirellis, you seem to get sort of 5 laps, really, the tyres working, and then they kind of drop off. It seems to be more keeping, there's that much torque on them. They just want to slide the whole time. So it's kind of keeping the consistency on the tyres. It's not, the tyre doesn't really drop off to a level where you're having to conserve them, but it's kind of keeping the consistency with the slide, if you get what I mean. It's just a different way of riding. It's quite easy to bang out the one lap time, but the next lap you might get a massive slide coming out of one of the corners and suddenly you've lost it. So it's learning and sort of working out. They seem to sort of get it onto the fatter part of the tyre earlier and blast out, whereas I'm running the corner speed a bit too much. So I think it's just a different way of riding, and we'll get there.
Yeah, of course, and we think with stuff like that. I mean, with some of your competitors, like like Josh Day, they've been used to sort of stock 1,000 and stuff like that. They're going to have that sort of riding style a bit more to what you're used to with the Moto3s and also with Junior Supersport, because you dabbled a bit in that. Who do you think then is going to be your main rivals for next year, looking championship wise?
Well, I think if Elliot and Josh, I'm pretty sure they're doing it next year. I'm not sure about Levi. I'm guessing he's doing it again. I think it's impossible to call at the moment.
Yeah.
I think Levi's got the experience, and I think he'll be looking for redemption against Josh next year. I think it sort of took him a little bit of time to get up to the same sort of speed as Josh, but the last ones. But I think Josh, Levi, Elliot, they're the main rivals. There's a couple of other lads, sort of Shoebridge and people that on their day they are as quick as everyone, but again they seem to be lacking the consistency like me and Elliot at the moment. But I think we can get there.
Sure, and well, you've been riding with SimCirrus for quite a few years now. Just tell us what it's like being with a team for that long.
It's great to be honest. It's like part of the family now. We live in the same town as them, and it's great. I work for them as well, so I work for SimCirrus as well as race for them. So it's great to be honest. It works perfectly for me, and it works good for us. It's nice sort of knowing the next year you're looking towards sort of the same guys and sort of working forward together sort of thing. It's good.
Absolutely. You say you work with them. I mean, a lot of people, sat at home, watching the race, and they think, that a lot of these riders are out, getting free rides, getting paid. What exactly are you doing then with them to fund your racing?
So they sort of fund the bikes and engine side of things. They're really supportive people, and they look at, they don't race to make money sort of thing. They race for the love of the sport. So it's a really good team to be with. And then I sort of look at personal sponsorships. I have some really good personal sponsors behind me as well as them, and it comes out personal sponsorship and a bit of our own pocket, to be honest.
No, that's brilliant. And I mean, what's it been like for you then, running a shortened season in the midst of the pandemic and everything that's going on?
short answer is, it was really weird. At first it felt like, oh, brilliant, racing's going again, it'll be nice, 5 rounds, that'll be fine. It sort of got to the end of the season, it was like, I only feel like I've just got going. You're looking at the rest of it, but it was the best that I think BSB did a really, really good job getting everything sorted and getting going again. It'd be nice next year to have some fans, to be honest. It just felt a little bit, it felt like a ghost town a bit once you got there and sort of got out on track. You used to kind of all the fans around the outside, but it just seemed a bit sort of. It's just a bit weird. The whole season's been a bit strange, but it's been great to be able to get racing. To be honest, at one point in sort of May time, I didn't think we would get racing this year, so it's been good to have anything.
Yeah, it's been brilliant to see, how well you've done this year. I mean, personally, because I've known you for a while now, so seeing how well you've done in that class has been brilliant to watch. And we wish you all the best of luck next year as well. And thanks a lot for coming on the show, and thanks a lot for talking to us.
Yeah, cheers, mate. It's obviously we've known each other since about 12 now, so it's been a while. But yeah, no, it's been really nice to come on. It's good to do something over the lockdown period, and especially over the off season. It'd be good. Hopefully it won't be too long till the next season starts.
Absolutely. So, and before I let you go, just going to make sure no one else has got any questions they want to ask.
I've got a quick one.
Sure.
Hi, Eddie, all right?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad. You mentioned you're just coming over a little bit of an injury at the moment, but over the winter, what sort of training do you do? Do you do a bit of cycling, a bit of running, or do you even get out on some bikes? Obviously, I know you from pit biking, so have you got any plans to maybe do some winter series round or a bit of motocross, something like that?
Yeah, I think mainly I do cycling. So I've got a sort of a trainer in Harbour. He used to race himself, and he sort of sponsors me with training. I do quite a lot of Pilates with him, and sort of spin classes, and then I try to do some cycling myself. I try to tend to stay away from running, to be honest. I injured my ankle over the couple of seasons ago, and then did
it seems to be the thing for all racers now. They all have the race bikes now, so it seems to be the right way to go now. You always see Scott and Johnny and Cal, they're always out on their races now.
I think it's because you damage your feet. I can hardly walk at the moment, let alone run. So it's I'm hobbling about still. So I think you can go cycling, and it's good for your joints. I do a bit of Pilates as well, and then I try and get out on the pit bike as much as I can. I love to do the winter series with the B&B. It's great fun, and with Alan and them, like they do a really, really good series, and I've known Alan for years, so I try and do as many B&B rounds.
Hopefully I'll see you at some winter rounds this season then.
Yeah, that'd be good. It's I've got no wets for it at the moment, so if it gets a bit rainy, I just try and stay on as long as I can, but apart from that, it's good.
Yeah. Cheers, Eddie.
Yeah, it'd be good. Cheers, guys.
Thanks for coming on, and interesting that certainly says he likes to do a few Pilates, as do I, clearly. Like to stay healthy and all that sort of stuff. That was interesting. It is the Superbike Show. This is Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. Hello and welcome. And the show continues with more guests coming up.
Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.
Yep. Definitely. Gino Rea coming up later in, not long actually, about 10 minutes time. Thank you very much to everyone who's been in touch with us via the old internets, getting in touch. It's at Motorsport Radio. A couple of, I think, fans getting in touch during that one. Hello to Isaac Aldred. I don't know, weird message that came flooding in. I wasn't sure whether to read that one out. I didn't in the end. But hello anyway, thank you for tuning in. If you are indeed real, hello. And if you are real and you're still tuning in to us, then welcome. It is the Superbike Show. We're here until we're not, if that makes sense, for the next few weeks. We've got loads of guests coming up, and we're going to try and pack the rest of the year with loads of guests, cause why not? We've not done a show for most of the entire season, and in fantastic planning meetings, we decided to start the show at the end of the year. for some reason. I don't know. But anyway, it is the Superbike show. We've got Gino Rea coming up shortly, and you can get your questions to him. If you have any at all, you can get your questions to Mr. Gino Rea, and we would certainly like to hear what they are. Definitely, I'm pressing buttons here. Sorry if I look a little distracted. There's things going on all sorts of the places. Too many things going on, guys. I just complicate myself. Anyway, just a little note as well before we move on. That's right, Jay. A little note that if you have... If you're on the move, if you're, I don't know, travelling to a race, maybe a winter series somewhere, or maybe a endurance championship, hello Hudson, then... Exactly. Then you can listen to, I know there are plenty of great motor racing podcasts and motorsport podcasts, as well, Chasing the Racing. I actually listen to some of the Autosport or motorsport.com's, a little bit of that one with, what's his name, Lewis Duncan. Interesting. I do tend to listen to basically everybody. So if you've just like, I don't know, if you're a budding radio presenter or podcast host or, I don't know, influencer, whatever one of them is. They seem to be just total social media tarts, basically. No offence, Jay. No offence. But if you are one of those and you've just started up a podcast, it's quite likely that I probably would have heard you or listened to you or stalked you at one point, which is, I believe, where I found originally Mr. Tristan Finocchiaro on a university podcast somewhere.
Oh, yeah, those were the days.
Those were the days. Last year, was it?
It was a couple of years ago now.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
At least 2.
But anyway, point being, you can go back and listen to our show, this one right here that you're currently listening to, for example. But if you've missed a show or an interview within a show, you can go back and listen to it from all of your favourite podcast providers. Plenty are available. Or you can just go onto our website and search... someone's name, I don't know, like Edmund Best. He'll be on there. He'll have his own little page with all his interviews that he's now done, number 1 on Motorsport Radio. So head over there, motorsport.radio, if you're not already on the website. And also, Jay, did you know that we have a breakfast show Monday to Friday, 6 till 9 a.m? That's right, a breakfast show.
Wow. I never knew, Esther. I never knew.
Well,
is it the only one?
It's the world's only permanent
Never knew. Who knew?
breakfast show, all about motorsport. It's myself and Kiko Giles, most of it recorded some time ago. He wants me to tell you that. So his boss is at Dawn. I don't get upset, even though we recorded it over lockdown. It's packed full of great information, mostly useless, but sometimes good. And it's at least as good as the worst breakfast show anywhere else. On local community radio. So check it out, motorsport.radio. If you're out and about, stream it on the go, on your phone, on the tablet, in your car, in the what's it, get the aux cable, slam it in, and squirt it up your device.
Squirt it up your device, yes.
It's just a long way of saying download us, basically.
You could not have put that any better.
So anyway, Superbike show. Gino Rea is going to be up shortly, and hopefully you've got your questions ready, primed for him. Just checking out our show notes because they're all diligently written. We start these shows like a week in advance, by the way. They're all pretty much, and we have actually run out of things to talk about because we were talking about MotoGP. I think we wrapped that up. Actually, no, we can get back onto our big debate.
Our big debate.
Yes. Regarding Mir and his championship. Is it worth as much without Marquez? Well, since I've asked you guys, I'll also burden you with some words from me anyway. And you'll never know whether I believe them or not.
I bet he's going to mention...
I'm sure we can figure it out.
Yeah, he's going to mention OMG at some point.
Whoa. Hi, Brad Ray. No. Basically,
he's not answering your phone calls.
He's not, no. Wonder why. Basically, yeah, Mir, ultimately, like any championship, you have to beat whoever is on the grid. And if Marquez is not on the grid, or whoever it is who are considered to be the best, then that's for a reason. Whether they've retired or they've run out of talent and crashed, then that's not your fault. You've got to just beat whoever's on the grid and whoever's in P1 at that time. And even if Marquez, as I think Tristan was alluding to, was going to be on the grid at some point, no guarantees that he would have been winning those races. So is it devalued because some people like Marquez a bit more? No. I say congratulations to Mir.
Will it be playing in the back of his head, though? It probably will.
Maybe as a competitor, it's a bit like, I suppose, likening it to... but it's a bit like likening it to Formula One, whereby if you're coming in as a new person and, say, Michael Schumacher isn't on the grid, as Jay's gone as well now. I don't know. See,
he's bored now. We've bored him.
I know.
He's gone. He's run away.
Unbelievable. But ultimately, is everyone all right, Jay?
The cat wanted letting in.
Unbelievable. so never mind. What's your cat called? Sonic? No, don't tell me. Oh, I was going to say Tails. Never mind. Yeah, you missed the trick with that one. Naming this Sonic and anyway.
The blue hair will be back soon.
I wouldn't do that to a cat, to be honest. When you give a phone call. And you, right? Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, no. Back to what we were saying. Is Mir's championship any less valuable or any less precious because he didn't have a head-to-head battle with Marquez, and it only seemed like he was going to win it after Marquez had kind of called it a day for 2020? No, because, well, there's still lots of other great riders on that grid. Quartararo, I think, as Jay said earlier, was still on that grid. He was to be beaten. He was beaten. And whoever takes the spoils wins the yada yada and all that.
You got to remember as well, Dovizioso had come second in the championship the last 4 years running, and obviously he's had a bit of a, well, shall we say, horrendous season. He did win one race, but it's not gone well at all for him, and he had to beat him at the end of the day. Well, a lot of people ended up beating Dovizioso, but
you were in front of him at one point.
Yeah, I was even. I think he did turn up to a 140 meeting, didn't he? I think. Yeah.
Maybe.
Anyway,
being BSB next year. Oh, gee.
At the end of the day, how do we know if Marquez if he had just that? It was Jerez the first round, wasn't it? I believe. Was it? Yes. Where he crashed.
Yes.
Anyway, what if he had just got up and he was perfectly fine from that crash? How do we not know? Maybe the next round he would have gone and crashed again and hurt himself.
Chopped his leg off or something.
Just because it happened at the first round, it doesn't mean that it could have happened at any of the rounds after. At the end of the day, he was having to push that hard for a reason. So it could have happened at any time again, couldn't it? Even if he hadn't have injured himself.
Very true.
It's all about the bike and rider. It's not completely about the rider.
It's about your package, Tristan.
Yes.
Agreed.
So, no, I don't think you can take it away from Mir. At the end of the day, there was another 21 riders on the grid, and over a season, he was better than the rest of them.
Yes, that is true.
But will it be playing on his mind that he's only won one race?
Yeah, I think us...
probably plays on his mind.
Well, all of us talking about, well, not just us three, but the whole motorcycle world will be questioning that, and that's going to make him more determined to come back next year and prove us all wrong.
And it was his crew chief was saying that he thinks that Mir's going to be even faster next year.
Yeah, well, as we see, Suzuki seems to be. Well, you can't say that about everyone, but the Suzuki is improving a lot every year, along with the KTM as well. So. The bikes that we probably thought a couple of seasons ago were the ones that you would least take a ride with, and now are the two teams that you'd probably want the most.
Yeah, Suzuki could very well be the best bike on the grid now.
Yeah,
arguably.
Yeah, them and probably KTM now, and you feel for Pole because he's probably made the wrong choice now of leaving KTM and going to Honda.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I think, if anything, more than the absence of Marquez, it's probably going to be the fact that he's only won one race and beat that record that Nicky Hayden had of winning a championship with 2 wins and beating it probably in the wrong way and getting 1 win.
Well,
yeah. I'm not sure that's really a record you want, really.
No, it's not really, is it?
No,
not to discredit him. He did an incredible job and was extremely consistent and did exactly what he needed to do. But I mean, it's not what you want, is it?
No, and I'm sure he'll still be he has got nothing to lose now. I'm sure he's going to be going out at Portimao to try and grab another win.
Yeah, no, there's no reason why not.
Yep.
Win or bin.
Bin it or win it, indeed. Let us know your thoughts if you're still tuned in and listening live. Your thoughts on Mir, and if you have any at all. If you are a big Marquez fan, let us know why Mir maybe won in a I don't know. Whatever your thoughts are, share them with us. Let us know. Get in touch at Motorsport Radio on Facebook and Twitter. And now on Motorsport Radio, Tristan, we have a guest.
Yeah, we do indeed. We have British Superbike rider Gino Rea, who's quite gladly and happily come on to talk to us. So thanks a lot for coming on, Gino.
No worries, pleasure.
Awesome. How are you for a start?
I'm good, thanks. I'm very good. Eager to get back on a bike already. Yeah, sure. As we all are, racers. Well, once we get off a bike for more than a weekend, we'll want to get straight back on it. But that's the racing season, and we've got a bit of a longer wait, obviously, until, as you know, BSB starts again. But hopefully we can get back on track soon.
Yeah, for sure. And it's been, I mean, although it was a condensed season this year, I mean, I think you can safely say quite a lot happened. Just talk us through your season in BSB this year.
Yeah, well, especially for me, because I raced in the World Endurance Championship as well. Yeah. So it made the already condensed compact season even more so. I think the whole year of racing, once we started, I think we started the first week of August in BSB. Yep. Since then, I think I only had one, maybe 2 weekends off. So I was every other weekend doing something, whether it's racing, testing, or either championship. Well, where to start? I started BSB with a privateer Kawasaki team, as you probably know. Mm-hmm. Well, going back a step, that was supposed to be a Ducati. It was supposed to use, the new Ducati V4R, V4S, whatever you want to call it, in BSB. And for one reason or another, COVID obviously didn't help the situation, but for one reason or another, we wasn't able to secure the bike, and they made a last-minute change to Kawasaki. So I was in Spain throughout the lockdown, and everything was all up in the air. And at first, everyone was trying to come to Spain to do a bit of testing, which obviously didn't happen. And then I returned back to the UK, and we didn't do a proper test. We basically just rocked up to the first race, and worked really well over that first race weekend. From the first session, we were miles off, and then in the last race, we were I think battling for 11th in the race, and made a good bit of progress in a short amount of time, because in BSB it's so close that you're a second off. You are back in 15th, 20th, and without any testing against the factory teams, it's a really, really impossible challenge. So there was other factors that went on, and for my own reasons, which one of them was safety. I decided to leave that team after that first race weekend, and I was obviously very lucky and fortunate that Suzuki took me on as a replacement rider for the unfortunate Keith Farmer. It was obviously not nice to see him get injured again after being injured last year, and I think the year before that. And so it was unlucky for him, but unfortunately, that's racing and happens to all of us. And for once, I was in the right place at the right time, and jumped on board on the Suzuki. Was really just felt like it didn't feel real. Getting a chance for a team like that after walking out on the team, not knowing what you're going to do the rest of the season was a dream come true. So just tried to plug away with those guys and keep my head down and work as hard as I could. And I think we showed a bit of potential once we got to Silverstone. I think I topped the Friday pre-practice session and was fast, was underneath the lap record. So from there on, we the races that weekend didn't go to plan, but I showed potential, and Suzuki kept me on. They kept me on for the remainder of the season. even when Keith did come back. I honestly thought that when he came back probably 3 rounds after I joined, so I did 2 rounds with them, and then when he come back, I thought that I was going to take a back seat, as a normal replacement rider would, and let the other rider come in. But credit to the build-based Suzuki team, they put out an extra bike for me. So basically there was 3 Superbike riders, which is a massive task for a Superbike team of any size, and gave them the opportunity to finish out the season. And I was glad to repay them with some solid results, especially at Donington, and leading my first race there was cool with them. And just plugged away, started to feel more comfortable with the bike. And in the end, it was a great year for me.
No, absolutely. And like you say, you've had your best results in BSB on the Suzuki with the build-based team. Obviously, I mean, you've ridden the Suzuki before, so why do you think it is now that you've been getting those better results?
Massive difference, to be honest. I mean, the Hawk Suzuki team, the build-based Suzuki guys have been running for 20 years. Their experience speaks for itself. They're very, very professionally run team. They've got good staff, good structure, good knowledge, good everything. It's just the whole thing from Suzuki's a Suzuki, but the way you prepare it is there's a million different options you can do. And a team is not just about the manufacturer of the bike or buying parts for the bike and expecting it to go fast. There's a lot more influences, especially in the BSB bike, where the electronics are so difficult. For example, the circuit is so difficult. You need the right people around you to get extract the most out of the bike. Even if both the bikes were the same, the bike I rode in 18 to the bike I rode now, if you've got the people to extract more from the bike, especially, I mean, we could go into this and be it all night, but from electronics to chassis, they're the key points. If you extract more from them, you might only be half a second quicker than you were 2 years ago, but that half a second will move you up 10 places in BSB. So it's all the little 1% is what I call it. It all adds up.
Are there any sort of? I mean, I have to ask. Are there any sort of plans in place for next year, or whereabouts are you with that?
Yeah, I can't say anything at the moment, unfortunately.
Sure.
But my wish is to stay with the Hawk build-based Suzuki team, and try and have some consistency in my career and build on what we did this year. That's the ultimate plan. Is if we could do some testing over the winter and get even more comfortable on the bike and find some little things here and there where I feel we need to improve. That would be my dream.
I mean, you spent a lot of time out in World Championships over in Moto2, in World Supersport. What is it like coming into BSB from that different style of riding?
Oh, it's very different. Very, very different. There's not much that's similar. Obviously, when I was in World Championship, Supersport and Moto2, I was riding a 600cc bike. So to switch over to BSB on a full-blown Superbike with no traction control, no anti-wheelie, and then go around Cadwell Park and Alton Park and tracks like that is a completely different style of riding, different atmosphere, different environment, different everything. So I think I took it on board pretty quick in 2018. There was some tracks like Alton I went to that, I did quicker lap times my first time there than a lot of ex-riders come into the series their first time at that track did. So I feel like I learned pretty quick, and it was a new team then, and we made good progress over the year. So that was what I wanted to build on going into 19. And when the deal fell apart, I didn't have a ride. I think I was able to show what I learned then this year with Suzuki. So it's definitely a steep learning curve coming to BSB, moving up from a 600 and learning the new circuits. It's tough, but just it's difficult to say exactly how different it is. It's even the riding style, not just from 600 to Superbike. Even if you're still on a 600, the riding style on the UK tracks is very different. It requires different things, and you can't ride how you do on the European tracks at those circuits. So it definitely takes some adjusting.
No, absolutely. So what would you say prompted then the decision to come over to BSB then from your experiences at World Champs?
So 2016 I was in World Supersport. 2017 I was in World Supersport. 2016 I was with a pretty good team, riding an MV, and we were sitting fourth in the championship until the last few rounds, until the engine started going. Then 2017 I rode for a Kawasaki team, and to be honest, I'm half Italian. My dad's Italian, but I just found it difficult working with Italians again. I've been on Italian teams for quite a few years up until then, and I'm not saying it's all Italians, but the Italian team I rode for, I just wanted to change. I wanted something different. I wanted different environment. I would have happily stayed in World Supersport if I had a good opportunity on a top team, a team that can win, because I've won in World Supersport. I know what it takes, and that almost happened, but politics played a part, and I lost out on a factory Yamaha ride, or Yamaha Sported. But so basically, when there wasn't any top teams, top rides available, it was time for a change and time to look elsewhere. And my manager at the time was in contact with the team I rode for in 18 in BSB, and it just rolled on from there. Really, we got chatting and kind of like the idea of what they were about, new team, and it would have been, everything was new team, new bike, new environment for me, new championship, and it was just a new challenge, and I wanted to go for it.
Do you see yourself ever trying to go back to World Championships? Is that a complete closed door, or do you ever see yourself maybe trying it again?
It kind of goes back to what I mentioned there. I would never go back there unless the team was a winning team, or a team capable of being top 5. I just don't see the point anymore. Wherever I go now, I want to be with a team that's capable of being at the front. Also, from a personal satisfaction, personal view, is you enjoy racing when you're winning or when you're competitive, when you're riding at your best and you feel you got the confidence, and each race you go into, you enjoy it because you know you're going to be battling at the front. And when you're with, like 2016 to 17, for example, when 16, when was going well, was on the podium, you was battling at the front and I was enjoying it. Going to 2017 on a different bike, different team, and you're just about getting in the top 10. And it's like, what am I doing? It's just crazy. It's like, you don't take the enjoyment out of it. So yeah, going around the house a bit, but if an opportunity with a top team, a factory team come up, obviously I'll consider it. It's I feel like I didn't get that opportunity properly when I was there, consistently. So yeah, obviously I'd be open to it, but I wouldn't be rushing back there. That's for certain. I'd rather be in BSB or even any other championship, as long as I'm able to be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk around World Supersport as a championship, and around sort of championship contenders paying a lot of money for their rides. There's been a lot of numbers thrown around. From your experience, is there a lot of that sort of thing? A lot of riders coming in and paying big money for big rides?
Unfortunately, yes, and it's only seems to be getting worse. And the World Supersport paddock, unfortunately, is definitely getting worse for that. I mean, I can tell you pretty straight that I think I finished 6th or 7th in that championship in 2016. I think 2017 or 2018, the privateer Yamaha team that was capable of being at the front, top 5 team, wanted €200,000. Yeah. So what do you do with that? Basically, some rich kid comes along and pays it and gets 10th, or that's it. You can't expect a rider of high caliber to have that sort of money unless they've come from money in the start. Maybe they've come from Moto2, where they've got big backers.
Oh, hey up. Is he gone?
Looks like we may have just lost connection for a second. Gone.
Let me double check. I was enjoying that. That was well,
I was getting all prepped for my questions.
Gino apparently is still in the call. But Yeah, we'll leave in case he does pop in. We'll just leave it open for him to sort of interrupt us again. But 200,000, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, that's. I mean, that is what it's selling into in World Supersport at the moment. I mean, there was some quotes and figures. I mean, I don't know how accurate it is, but there was sort of numbers as high as some 400,000 euros floating around that Evan Brothers team as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's just how things have changed in such a short period of time. I know he's got on a bit now. He's commentating now, and I was named after him. But Jamie Whittam, he used to get paid a lot of money to race in World Supersport, and you think how times have changed now, where you've got to pay a lot of money to be in it now. And like I said, Locatelli, who won the championship, even had to pay for his ride this year, and he won it easy. So.
Yeah, I mean, there was a heavy rumor around that Locatelli was paying for that ride. I mean, we can't know for sure, of course, but I mean, there's been a lot of rumors around that. But
I think it's bad when you think about it. Really, when you think of the money that footballers and all that get paid, and yet in our sport, you have to pay loads of money just to be in it, let alone.
Absolutely.
Get paid to
absolutely. I mean, even from my experience over in the World Supersport 300, I mean, even there, you sort of, I was paying sort of about 65,000 euros just to be there and just to sort of, just to be, strad around the back. But I do think we've got Gino back now.
Yes, he is back. He high-sided off the internet, but he's back now. But yeah, we were just.
My AirTag, I'm all right.
Oh, good, excellent. But picking up from where you were. Talking about some of those costs, that was eye-watering.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the majority of the teams are like that now. Gone are the days in World Supersport where you had kind of factory-backed teams, and a lot of the budget came from the factories, or at least the teams were assisted by the factories. And the teams used to have a lot of money, and they used to pay salaries, and used to get salaries from the clothing companies, pretty decent. And also, this kind of before I was in World Supersport 2010-11. Before that, or actually even then, the factory supported teams were getting massive bonuses for race wins and championship positions for the riders, and there was a lot of money in the sport. And now it's just, I don't know how any of the riders are managing it. To be honest, it seems almost impossible.
While you were off there, me and Tristan were just talking about it. Like, I remember back in the days when, and Jamie Whittam, the commentator now, he used to race in World Supersport and was a top runner, and he was getting paid a pretty good whack back then when he used to ride for Yamaha. It's so weird how things have changed in a reasonably quick time, really.
Indeed, yeah, it's sad, really. I mean, how do you fix it? That's the problem. What do you do about it? Looking back at Cole Fogarty's post the other day where there's 120,000 fans at Brands Hatch, how do you get them numbers back in?
Yeah, they isn't saying that MotoGP killed it, really. There's loads of other factors, but it is sad to see now, because it's hard for, especially the youngsters coming through. I mean, it's so hard to get through as it is at the moment, but where is the incentive to go do it when you think the amount footballers get paid and that, and we have to pay loads of money just to be in our sport?
Yeah, it's certainly frustrating. It's like you said, the problem is the future generations, the kids of now that are racing, is how do they come up and get through it? There will be, other systems to start, but just taking that one class, for example, in World Supersport, it just seems impossible.
Yeah.
Obviously it's hard to tell and it's hard to know for sure, but why do you think it's ended up like this?
From my experience over the years, when the economy crashed, that from there onwards is when the teams' budgets were struggling, and they basically relied on riders to bring in money. And then once that happened, it just stayed like that, really. The teams' budgets have always been low since then, because they struggled to get the sponsorship in. I know I've been in the position where I've run a team. Me and my dad owned half of the Moto2 team that I rode for in the whole of 2014 in the MotoGP Championship. And so I've seen it from both sides. And I've seen where teams are lazy and they don't look for their own sponsors and they rely on riders to bring their own money in. And then I've seen other teams that are successful and they've got their own marketing people, and they get their own sponsors in. So I think teams definitely did get lazy after that hard time with it, when the economy crashed and the sponsors pulled out. And then other riders have been able to bring their own money in, and wherever the riders are getting the money from, they're bringing it, and it's kind of just snowballed from there. And as the years go on, there's always another rider to pay the bill.
What was that like, running your own team against big teams in Moto2?
It was good. It was challenging. It was challenging. Mm. So I did it for kind of like a year and a half in 2013 when my ride fell through. Me and my dad, basically, with a couple of friends, packed up a Mercedes Sprinter van and with a big tent, unfolded the tent and basically ran the Moto2 bike out the back of the tent, out the back of the van at the GPs. And we did wildcards like that for a while until we actually attracted a sponsor / partner who came on board for the rest of that year. But yeah, running it out of a Sprinter van, we used to put the bike in the back of the van, and then my fold down bunk bed was next to it. So I'd sleep next to the bike at night at the Grand Prix tracks, and then rock it out in the morning. And like at Assen, I think I was like 0.9 off pole, and I'm like setting the bike up myself, and friends span around.
Some of your wet races were pretty amazing, to be fair. I do sit and watch them on YouTube, and they are pretty epic.
I was really unfortunate that year I did the wildcards. I never had a wet race.
Yeah,
we had wet practices, and I remember being like P2 at Le Mans on my own bike, and we had stickers on the number boards to say like we've got no sponsors and stuff.
Yeah, you used to have question marks over
question marks. So we had the occasional session where I put it up front, but yeah, we didn't get any wet race that year. So anyway, that led on to another partnership with an American guy at AGT, Dave Peterson, for 2014, and we ran the team as a permanent team. We did every race. We had a truck, proper run team, and we were just a bit unlucky that I broke my foot at the start of the year, and then we decided to use Suter, and it was a time when a lot of the teams were going away from Suter, and obviously it's a very difficult bike without bit like what I was saying earlier with BSB. If you haven't got exactly the right people around you and the right amount of testing to get the most from that bike, is very, very difficult. And we proved that because we were supposed to run our own team again in 2015, and at the end of the year we acquired one of the Calexes from Mark VDS, which was actually Rabat's bike, and I went 0.7 quicker straight away at Valencia on my first time on it, half on it. And we barely did anything to the bike, just jumped on the Suter, on the Calex, sorry. And going that much quicker in Moto2 is a massive. So it was a lot easier bike to ride, and I think because of those factors, we didn't get the result we wanted, but we still ran a team, a privateer, self-run team in the Moto2 World Championship against all the bigger, not really factory-backed, but the bigger teams that have been there for years and years and years. So. We did. I think we did a great job for our first year. It's just a shame that didn't continue, really.
Yeah, and that's an incredible achievement, and something that will obviously stick with you for life as well. And I mean, now you're trying out new things with the endurance as well. What's that been like? Because obviously that's going to be now completely different to anything else you've done. Yeah,
another learning experience, and it's gone really, really well. I mean, we finished fourth position in the World Championship standings in this season. So the endurance season, as you probably know, is 19-20.
Yep.
2019-2020 spread over the 2 years. And we had 2 podiums. So we got second at Boldor, and then we got third recently at Estoril. So yeah, it's great. I mean, I could be here all day speaking about it, but it's so I joined the Wojcik racing team, Polish team, at the start of last year after I'd lost my ride in BSB, and went and done Le Mans. And to be honest, the first couple of races were not good, but I worked hard with the team to improve and to get things right, and they did. And now they're one of the top privateer teams there. We've moulded their team into a top privateer team. So yeah, the world of endurance is completely different. But I would say one perception that it has is that people think that you ride 15% slower than you can ride and just and cruise it around, but it's far from that. Basically, all the riders out there riding their stints like short circuit races. It's the pace is high. It's very competitive. You've got very professional teams that are backed by the factories, which you shouldn't really be able to get close to, but we have done a few times. But over race distance, it's really difficult to beat those teams. But yeah, it's 24 hour is tough. It's tough going racing through the night.
Yeah.
The first time I did Le Mans last year, 24 hour, my teammates were a little bit slower than me, so I felt like I had to make extra time up in all my stints, and I literally did every lap like a qualifying lap, like I would in BSB, like a race pace, as fast as I can go. And I've got to admit that did take its toll on me, because first 24-hour race, there's a lot of factors as well, that you have to eat right, you have to rest right, you have to get the right amount of liquids. I was running for a Polish team, and they had a Polish cook, and they were making like heavy food and stuff like that, and I had acid reflux. I was almost sick on my helmet once at like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, just as the sun was coming up. It's freezing cold, and then you're still trying to go flat out as well. So yeah, that was a tough old race. But yeah, you learn from him, and the 8-hour races are completely different. And then we did a 12-hour race recently at Estoril as well.
And another thing you're doing as well on top of everything is running your own team as well in the Stock 600 class.
Yeah, that's right. That we started that last year, again after my ride fell through and didn't really have a bike on my own to ride. Myself and good friend now and sponsor from Vision CPS, me and Elliot, we basically formed the team. It's called Ready for Racing, so Team R4R. Started off in Superstock 600, and last year we had the Irwins. One in Stock 600, one in Moto3, who eventually went up to Stock 600, and we won our first race with Keelan last year in Stock 600. And yeah, just developed from there. This year there was a bit of change, because the team that I rode for on BSB were using MVs in Supersport, so we kind of had a bit of a partnership going on, and we switched to MVs in Superstock as well. Well, obviously when I left, it all fell through. We went back to Kawasaki just for a single rider with George Stanley. And yeah, well, we had some success. Not as we didn't get on the podium like we did last year, but we made really good progress with George. And at the end of the last race of the season at Brands Hatch, he was in podium contention and finished 5th. So he's got what it takes to be at the front as well. And basically, I enjoy mentoring, working, coaching. A lot of my, let's say, side work has been rider instruction and rider coaching over the winter periods over the last 5 years. So I do a lot of one-on-one stuff, and that basically evolved into rider coaching and basically mentoring, and everything from your day-to-day life, what they do, their training, especially the training. I've always been big into my training, and I actually worked as a CrossFit coach, so I had to learn the trade pretty well, and that crosses over into bike racing as well, along with nutrition and the whole thing of it, really. And obviously the main part is teaching them on track, so riding on track with them and developing their riding skills.
Is this a project you're looking to sort of expand and grow as well, and maybe into other classes? Yeah,
definitely in the future. Myself and Elliot and his brother Dan, we're all working really hard and getting partners on board. Would like to expand in the future, but it's kind of one step at a time. Obviously I've got my own racing to focus on, so I couldn't do it without them, because on the race weekends they run the show along with my dad as well, who now helps. But yeah, I definitely it's in the pipeline to expand, and I think we can do a good job. Like I said, we've obviously got experience from running teams at highest of world championship level, so a lot of the little things that make a big difference transfer over to running in the smaller categories as well. So it's really interesting for me, and especially from the rider coaching perspective, that's what I enjoy.
No, of course, and it's awesome to see you doing so many other things. And before we let you go, I'm just going to check and make sure no one else has got any questions.
Well, I've got a few of my quickfire ones, but they're really going to have to be quickfire because we're running out of time. So, Gino, I'm going to go through these as quick as possible. If you got the choice, would you rather have a MotoGP win or a BSB title? One single win or a PSP title?
MotoGP win.
Would you? Okay, then no problem. Out of racing, what's top of your bucket list?
Oh, that's a good question. Right now, win PSP title.
Out of racing.
Oh, outside of racing.
Outside of racing, yeah.
Earn some money.
That's pretty hard to do.
We all?
Buy my own house one day. I don't know.
Oh, that's fair play.
Outside of racing, but to be honest, most of my life outside racing involves racing.
Nothing. Totally understand. If you could have raced in any other era of bike racing, Superbikes, MotoGP, I'm guessing you're going to say the Carl Foggy era now you mentioned it.
Yeah, definitely. Or, the 500cc two-strokes.
Yeah, those late 90s in the Superbikes, they were the best. Training-wise, are you a runner or are you a cycler?
In general, cycler.
Yeah.
If I can't cycle, I'll run, but I'll change up my training quite a bit. But yeah, I would rather cycle than run.
If you could do any other sort of motorsport apart from bike racing, what would you like to have a go at? Cars, boats, rally cars?
Probably rally cars or Formula 1.
Formula 1, yeah. Also, can you remember your first ever race win on tarmac? I believe I used to race against you in Super Teams in Bempsey back in the day.
Yeah, I did a few Super Team races. Didn't win any.
No.
First win would have been, probably the end of that year. A guy called Mick Corrigan got me on a 600 at Mallory Park, New Era race. It was New Era end of the year race or something like that.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah. It used to be quite a lot of BSB riders used to turn up to them.
That's right. Basically, the sponsor said if you win that, he put me straight into British Supersport. So
remember it well. Was there any famous riders that are still riding now? Can you remember in that race?
There was some fast riders, but I don't remember the names. I was only 16, I think.
Yeah. All right, last question, the big one. You've rode a lot of different bikes in your career so far. If you could choose 3 bikes, one that you just could not stand, like you'd send to the crusher straight away, you knew from testing it was going to be horrendous. One bike you can put in your living room that is like sentimental, brilliant memories, and one bike that you could just have for track days for the rest of your life. Which 3 bikes would they be?
Okay, first one's easy. The Kawasaki that I rode in World Supersport 2015.
Shocker, was it?
Yep, try that way. Second one, I've actually still got my Moto2 bike from 2014 that I raced. So that is a bucket list already ticked. That's next Moto2 bike. So and then the third one
you can have for track days for the rest of your life. The one you enjoy riding the most.
Got to be the build base Suzuki.
Oh, you have to say that. You want to be in the team next year, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Cheers, Gino. Thanks for those answers.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on the Superbike show on Motorsport Radio once again, Gino. We will probably keep in touch with you maybe over winter after there's been a big announcement about I don't know whether you're staying at the team or
hopefully something soon.
Yeah. So whatever it is, best of luck next year. I'm sure we'll bump into each other, and don't be a stranger. Good luck with things in the 2021 season, which will have absolutely no disruptions whatsoever.
Don't say that.
No jinxing allowed. Okay, so anyway, thank you for coming on, and genuinely, I mean, good luck.
Cheers, Gino.
Cheers, guys.
So it is the Superbike show. It is Motorsport Radio. We are still here. Thank you very much to Jay and to Tristan. And yes, a couple of little things before we go. We've had a couple of comments flood in regarding our big debate. And hello to, before we actually just say that, hello to Levi Day, tuned in briefly. Hello if you're still watching. Hello, Levi. And Chris Brooks as well. Hello to you. And we were thinking of new features. Obviously, we came up with the J King's, these quick question thing, which doesn't have a title. Maybe we can give it a jingle next time or something. One of the discarded ideas that we had was racers posting their dinners and something along the lines of a master chef for bikers. The only reason I say that is because at this time of year, obviously people getting a bit low on ideas for social media content, so you find people like Michael Howarth posting pictures of his dinner that he made.
Well, he has to post pictures of his dinner because he doesn't ride bikes anymore, so what else would he do?
I didn't want to say it, but
shots.
There you go. Including what turned... I alleged on Facebook that it looked like he said it was some genuine home-cooked stuff with some sort of egg fried rice, which really does look like it's from the chippy. Just saying, whatever. But regarding the more serious question that we were asking earlier on of is Mir's championship worth as much without Marquez being on the grid? Brent Gladwin has been in touch of GR Motorsport in BSB. Hello, good evening, Brent, if you're still tuned in. And occasional guest on the show. Hello, Brent. He says, well, historically, racing results are always full of what-ifs. Mir did his job and beat every one of his competitors. That's all those who turned up to race. Mir held his head and won the world title. If that's simple, he says, great job, and that's along the lines of what we said. I think.
Yeah, totally agree.
So and also Ryan Smith. Hello, Ryan. Tuned in. He was saying, I think, regarding something we were talking about earlier. He asks, is he right in thinking that Franco had a breakdown earlier in the season? Don't think a mental one. Imagine how the standings would look now if he hadn't, though.
I think there was a couple, didn't he?
He also had that big accident with Zarco as well.
Yeah, that was it. So, I mean, without that bit of bad luck, we could have seen a different world champion. But then, like you say, it's all ifs and buts, isn't it?
Who knows? Regarding, I do have a picture of, I've been sort of scouring. I was paying attention to what Gino was saying, but at the same time, masterfully... what do you call it? Multitasking. That's it. I can't even say the word. And I found a picture that we mentioned on the show earlier that this year's British Talent Cup rider, Harry Cook, had posted during the show, since we've been on air, that he'd announced that he was joining the Yamaha Blue crew, and there is a picture that he posted on his social media account earlier. There he is in blue. If you're listening, he's just dressed in Yamaha stuff with a big massive smile on his face. Congratulations once again, and it's the sort of thing that we need really on the show. Live breaking news, that's always good. And also regarding the hot rumour of a Japanese rider going to Honda BSB, we couldn't think at the time who it might be, but we had a possible tip-off from a possible person who may be Michael Howarth, who maybe had given me a name of someone I can't even pronounce. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this two ways, and one of the ways may be correct. Anyway, this is the lad. He looks quite young. Apparently, he's called Ryo Mizuno or Ryo Mizuno, and he's Japanese. I don't know what class. He's Japanese Superbike something. Obviously, my ignorance of local Japanese bike racing is coming out here, but this might be the person who or may not be in BSB in 2021, and if it's not,
the next Kianari maybe.
Well, there's he also this is why I'm not suggesting that he's putting out false info, our Michael, but he also suggested that he may be even coming back to BSB. So, I don't know, maybe it's silly season with the rumours. Not that... I mean, we wouldn't ever...
Brad Ray going to OMG. Just who knows, hey? Who knows?
No, I wouldn't see that happening.
No.
Anyway, it is the Superbike show, and we're just about done for the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do you like our new background, by the way? We've got a new sort of background that I made and things.
Is it new?
It's brand new. And
I didn't notice. I thought it was the same.
It's all right. Yes.
I mean, it's brilliant. I love it.
Took me 5 minutes to whip it up. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for getting in touch with comments or no comments, or just downloading the show and just generally being here or thereabouts. And no doubt we will have an influx.
Packed show next week.
Packed show next week.
Very packed.
Big, huge pack of guests. We may have overbooked.
I don't think
we have a strong package.
Talking a lot.
Yeah, we have a big package apparently, and
big package for next week.
Who just remind us the talents that we have on next week, Tristan?
Well, we may very well be seeing the likes of Michael Hill coming on the show. He may or may not be coming on the show, but he said he might come on the show next week and talk about the new World Superbike calendar.
If we say that they definitely will, then we can put pressure on them to actually do it.
He's definitely coming on the show.
He will
next
be
week.
here, definitely.
Also, Indy Alpha World Super Sports 300 rider might be coming. Well, will be coming on the show. Brad Jones, Leicester's booked onto the show as well.
Yes, Brad's definitely coming on.
A long list of names that I can't quite
Perhaps
recall
Max Cook as well. He might be coming on. I don't know. Definitely might be.
I heard rumours about Ian One as well, maybe as well, weren't there?
Well,
and Dovizioso's coming on the show to announce that he's riding for OMG.
Let's get him on. Let's get them all on. Chat to them all, and yeah, why not? Only a couple of shows left to go this year, and let's just try and get as many people on as possible. Why the hell not?
Free Tech God, Hudson Kenner, maybe?
I've invited him on. I was chatting to him earlier. He'll be on to tell us how great his Free Tech Championship or Series. Is it actually a championship or series? Maybe he can tell us.
Yeah, it's a Free Tech Endurance Championship. That's another thing Suzuki won this season as well. They won that as well. They seem to be winning everything at the moment.
So, yeah.
Two things.
And you,
Racing? No, they won the Endurance Championship as well.
And is there a world championship for that? Is that what you were talking about?
What's that? The Endurance Championship?
Yeah.
What, big bike endurance? Not
the Free Tech thing.
Right?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Hudson. He knows more about it than I do, definitely. But hello, Hudson, if you tuned in. But yeah, thank you anyway for also being a part of the show and getting in touch with us. We didn't even do we didn't even. You know what we didn't even do? Our breaking news jingle.
Oh, you can do it now.
Might as well do it now, because, shall we break some news?
You need to think of some news first.
Break some news. There we go.
Motorsports Radio.
Breaking news! And clearly didn't set this up properly. So, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to play it just because we'd just done a thing with the breaking news and the what's it and the yada yada. But basically, yeah, breaking news. We'll be breaking news on next week's show though, and I'll set that up properly beforehand. There's a lot to do in this show, so if you ever wonder why we're a few minutes late, it's because Tristan's always panicking in the background.
Never happened.
No, definitely not. And Jay's always freaking out. I'm just sat here all serene and calm and just waiting for everyone.
I'm always here early. You two I'm waiting for.
Well, because you got kicked out of the other room. Anyway. Thank you anyway. We are going now. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. And thank you. And we'll see you next Wednesday, live at 8 on the Superbike Show. It's Motorsport Radio. Don't forget to download us and listen to us on motorsport.radio.
Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.